Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today I'm gonna talk about the top 10 of movies from my mom. Now last year I made a video talking about movies that you can watch with your mom on Mother's Day, but this year I decided to do something a little bit different and I just asked my mom her top 10 favorite movies of all time, basically. A little backstory. If you don't want the backstory, you can just skip ahead, but a little backstory of this: my mom and my dad, when we lived in Venezuela before they had me, they used to have a video store, kind of like a Blockbuster type of thing. So my mom and dad watch a lot of movies and they love movies. They told me that they went to the movie theater at least 3 times a week and they will watch all the movies that will come into their store so they can recommend it. So I think that's a really solid base for me to ask them what's their favorite movies, because they have watched a lot of movies. Her top 10 was a little bit all over the place and we changed it a little bit, but I'm just gonna stick with the final one. So let's just jump into the video. First one on the list, and is a great one to start with. A little bit backstory: my mom was 3 years old when she came to Venezuela. She's actually Italian. She's from Napoli. So her first movie fits her perfectly because it's Life is Beautiful, La Vita è Bella. I watched this movie a couple years ago. I was on my journey of watching through all the 100 best movies in history, which I can do a video about that separately. And I just gotta say that this movie has its honors of being one of the best movies in the world, because it has everything. It's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking at the same time. It gives you this hope, and these characters are just amazing. The dad and their son is just a wonderful piece. That you haven't seen it, please go and do. This movie is from the 98 and it's about the World War II, so just go with that. And it's just an amazing movie that you have to see, because it's just, as I said, obviously it's one of the 100 best movies in the world.
Buongiorno principessa, stanotte t'ho sognata tutta la notte, s'andava al cinema e c'avevi quel taglierino rosa che mi piace tanto.
This movie, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars, just because of the fact that I thought I was gonna cry more and I thought I was gonna be a little bit more of a mess at the end of the movie, which I wasn't. It's still a pretty amazing movie, especially an Italian movie, because Italians were making great movies on the World War II. So just incredible to watch. So a 4 out of 5. For number 2, we have, this is also an incredible movie. As I'm doing going through the top 10s of my mom, I have seen that she likes really dramatic and really make you cry movies, because the first one's gonna make you cry a lot. I know that I did. The second one is The Pursuit of Happiness, the Will Smith movie with his son Jaden Smith. It's just, if you haven't seen it, first of all, how can you not see that movie? How could you have not watched that movie? It's on Netflix. For the ones that wants to rewatch it or you haven't watched it, is actually about this journey of this dad with his son to be able to stabilize themselves. I don't want to give too much details, because literally the whole movie is the pursuit of him being established, basically, of him to be able to give his son a normal life, or a best life that he could. This movie is heartwarming, it's amazing. Will Smith acting is great. This movie overall is just amazing. It's inspiring, and also it's gonna make you cry a couple times.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me.
For this movie, out of 5, I'm gonna give it also a 4, probably. Just because after you watch it like so many times as I did, it kind of doesn't do anything to you, and it kind of is more like a melodramatic type of thing, kind of like, okay, this is like too much like bad luck for one person. But the first time that you watch it, is just the perfect amount. After you watch it a couple more times, it can be a little bit tiring, but besides of that, the story is great, acting is great, the fact that it is based on true story is also fantastic, so a 4 out of 5. For number 3, we have The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I think that's the name of the movie. I literally watched that today because I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to rent it like on Amazon Prime or in YouTube TV, so I just watched it on Amazon Prime, and it's a great movie. My mom also likes like not thrillers, but like she likes also suspenseful and yeah, kind of like suspenseful thriller movies. That's the one that she likes, and this movie was just amazing. It's great. It's about this babysitter that goes into this house family and tries to make the family her own, basically. Like literally that's the whole thing about the movie. But it's a great movie. It keeps you on your toes all the time. It makes you think like, why you guys are not seeing this? Like, what's the problem? Why no one is figuring out what she's doing? So it's a great movie. Amazing pick from my mom. Once again, you can watch it, you can rent it for $3.89 or $3.99, I think, in Amazon Prime. So just take a chance and watch it because it's great. For this one, out of 5, I think I'm also, you know what, I'm gonna give it a 3.5, just because I actually didn't like the fact of there's a little bit stuff in the story, like the guy, she calls him retard, that it didn't like age really well. So those things I don't really liked about the movie. She was trying to insinuate to the husband, and the way that some things came out, like I actually didn't like some stuff because like I said, it didn't age well. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Number 4, this movie actually is one of my favorites too. It's 13 Going 30. I think everyone has watched this movie, especially my favorite scene is when they dance Thriller. That's my favorite scene from the whole movie. You know, it's like a comedy. It's something like really lighthearted. It's amazing. It is a rom-com, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong, but it could be a rom-com with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. Both of them are great. The movie itself is amazing. This movie also got Ariana Grande got inspired to make her Thank You Next video, if I'm not wrong. Which is iconic. The dress that she wears, that Jennifer Garner wears in the scene of the Thriller, is also iconic. So watch me turning 30 and having that dress because amazing. So once again, this movie is iconic, it's great, it's lighthearted, it's funny, it's romantic. So if you haven't watched it, please do. I think it's on HBO Max. Once again, this one is one of my mom's favorite movies, but it's also one of mine. It's just amazing. Please go watch it. It's great. This movie, as I said, is one of my favorite ones, and just because it's one of my favorites, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. It actually I think it might be a 4.5 out of 5, just because it's a great comedy movie to watch. It's really heartfelt, it's really lightweight, it makes you think, it makes you, if you're an adult like in your 30s, it makes you see your life differently, but it also makes you think about your teenage years, and it's kind of like a back and forth, and it's just a great movie to watch, especially with Jennifer Garner, that is a goddess. So it might be a 4.5 out of 5 for me. For number 5, we have something really different on this whole list. It's called Mystery. It's a psychology thriller, which is a little bit not off for my mom, but it's a little bit like not online with the rest of the list. So this movie is based on the Stephen King novel Mystery of the same name. In this movie, we have an author that gets into a car accident, and then he has a biggest fan that's interpreted by Catherine Bates that goes and saves him from the car crash and whatever, and puts him into her own cabin in the woods, and stays there with him until he recovers. But then she starts like going a little bit crazy because she finds out that he's gonna kill off one of her favorite characters from the novel. So she starts being obsessed on him and trying to make him change the final edits of his book to fit on her liking. So it's like a really it's really keeps you on edge. It's amazing. It's a great movie like any other story from Stephen King. Like just amazing, top tier, and the acting was wonderful.
This isn't what happened last week. Have you all got amnesia? They just cheated us. This isn't fair. He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car.
For this movie, out of 5, I'ma actually also give her a 4. I love Stephen King. I love the way he writes. He has said that he doesn't like any of his movies. I like most of them. This one wasn't like kind of like my favorite. I think it was a little bit slow paced, but besides of that, the acting was great, the story was great, and yeah, it might be a 4 out of 5 for me. For number 6, we have The Father of the Bride. This is a great comedy movie. We have Steve Martin as the father of the bride. It's one of those rom-coms that we see that the father doesn't like the soon-to-be son-in-law, and they see their daughter as this little kid that they haven't grown up, and it's just kind of like a heartfelt movie if you see it from the dad point of view. I always see these movies from my dad's point of view, and how would it feel for him once I get married. And it makes me emotional. Like I'm just like that. But it's a great movie, amazing comedy movie. We have Steve Martin on it, like of course it's gonna be great. If I'm not wrong, this movie is on HBO Max, so you can enjoy it.
I'm engaged. I'm engaged. I'm getting married.
For this one, also out of 5, I'ma give it probably a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. For number 7, we have A Walk in the Clouds. It's a Keanu Reeves movie, which has shocked me because I didn't know that Keanu made a romantic movie. I don't know if he made more of those, but this is the only one that I have watched of him being into a romantic movie. Now, this movie I rented on Amazon Prime around $3.80, $3.90, the same way as The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The movie is kind of like really basic. It's along the same lines of any romantic movie. They decide that they want to pretend that they're a family or they're like a couple. They separate because they were like, okay, you know what, like we're pretending like we have to move on with our lives. They decide that they actually are in love with each other, and they come back and everyone's happier ever after. I did not give you any spoilers because that's the same way that any romantic movie, even a rom-com, works. What kind of threw me off was the fact that Keanu Reeves' voice, because his voice was like a little bit lower, like he was trying to make that his voice. I'm not 100% sure if like it was his actual voice, so it was like him pretending to be a voice, but it was giving Elvis Presley and Austin Butler situation. So it's kind of weird if you ask me. Besides of that, it's a great movie. It's a nice romantic movie, and yeah, you can just go and watch it on Amazon Prime.
And don't think that just because I speak with an accent, I think with an accent.
This one out of 5, I'm gonna give it also a 3. I guess just because it's a normal romantic movie, nothing too different. They they don't love each other, then at the end they fall in love and stuff like that. So really basic movie. It's still a good movie, but story wise and moving forward, it just was really basic. So it's a 3 out of 5 for me. For number 8, we have Hachi. If you haven't watched this movie, I kind of feel sorry for you, because this movie is an amazing movie to watch, especially if you love animals, if you love dogs. This is an incredible movie to watch. It's a sad movie, but it's also so heartfelt, and it makes you just love dogs even more. And if you guys didn't know, this movie is actually based on a true story. I'm not gonna give you the whole timeline of the movie, because you have to go and watch it for you to actually understand why it's so sad. But it's basically, Hachi is this dog that is completely devoted and loyal to his human, basically. Ended up being kind of like a hero. And that's everything that I'm gonna say, because you have to go and watch it, because it's so good. For Hachi, I'm gonna give it also a 4.5 out of 5, because I love dogs. If you haven't seen it, you can go and watch my TikTok about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where I'm go a little bit more in depth about my love for animals. So you can follow me and you can see it if you guys want. But this movie, as I said, is really sad, but it's also heartwarming, and we don't deserve dogs. So I think just for Hachi, just for the dog, I might give it a 5 out of 5. But I think, you know what, I might give it a 5 out of 5 just because of the dog, just because of Hachi. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me. For number 9, we have The Blind Side, which is also one of my favorite movies. It might not be on my top 10, but it's quite in there, because I love Sandra Bullock, and this is a great movie of her. So Sandra Bullock is this wealthy lady, and then we have Michael, that is this stray kid, living on the streets and stuff like that. He's have a horrible luck in life so far, but when she sees him, she takes him with her and starts making him part of the family, basically. She feeds him, she gives him clothes, she makes him go to school, helps him go through school and all of that. It's just kind of like the same wavelength that goes in The Pursuit of Happiness, kind of like that. We're going through a life story of a person that it went from having nothing to having everything, and how they actually accomplished all of that, and how they went through all the obstacles to be able to get to the point that they are at that moment. Is also based on a true story, if you guys didn't know, the same way that The Pursuit of Happiness is. For The Blind Side, out of 5, I'ma also give it a 4.7. 4.7. I think there's nothing like 4.7, so I'm gonna leave a 4.5. Sandra Bullock, amazing acting, great story. It was heartwarming, once again based on a true story, so it kind of chills, it makes you gives you goosebumps to think that something like that happened to someone, because it's so, you have to be so blessed and to be able to have a destiny and to have a purpose like that. It's just crazy. So a 4.5 out of 5. And for the final one, might not be the last one, because this movie is just amazing. We have a number 10, we have The Green Mile. Now with this movie, I'm gonna tell you, I cry like a baby. I cried a bunch of times. So if you wanna cry, you can go and watch this movie, because it's just amazing. This movie was also made by the story of Stephen King, which is a little bit weird, because when I watched this movie, I didn't know that it was based on the story of Stephen King. And then it kind of didn't make sense, because it didn't have anything horror to it, but after I watched it again, I was like, okay, kind of makes sense because it has like these fantasy kind of like thriller things. But besides of that, it's a great movie to watch. Like I said, it made me sob at the end of the movie. We have Tom Hanks as one of the actors, which also did an amazing job. But obviously the one who steals your heart is the main character, which is such a sorrow and such a saddest thing for the ending of the movie. For this one, I might actually give it a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10, no, I wasn't doing on base of 5. 5 out of 5. Just because at the end I didn't expect to cry that much. At the beginning it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like, this is sad, like this is not fair and this and that, but at the end I did not expect what happened at the end. So for that I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. And that was everything for this week's video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe. You can comment down below if you like any of these movies, or if you think that I should rate it a little bit more or a little bit less. Also, you can follow me on my social medias over here in the down bar below. You can also go and watch my last year's video on Mother's Day, and also the rest of my videos I try to upload every Friday. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.